Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here. This is always going to be a fun one. This is the second time we've had on the program, but I've wanted to get him on more, and I watch him all the time, especially over on the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm sure you do too. He's a funny man. He actually, if you want some free golden comedy and you can't make it out to one of his sets, you just put up a few months ago a 30-minute piece. A lot of comedians are doing it, right? 30 minutes of comedy. Gold, Mr. Metzger, made me laugh throughout.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
No, absolutely fantastic stuff. So, I mean, we're about to go to World War III. Chaos has broken out into the Middle East. You're part of, I would say, a very small minority of even the alternative media that's questioning anything in that regard. How's that feel, Kurt?
I like to tell. That's what I do on stage is tell the kids how they're going to World War III. I ask who's under 25, and I tell them they're not going to gay their way out this time. There's no gaying out of it. It's inclusive. You're going.
So this is it. You're telling me there's there's no gaying out of this one, no?
It's just gonna be like MASH, the series. You know, Klinger always wore a dress to get out, and they're like, "No, Klinger, you're gonna stay here in Korea, aka Vietnam. You're going to the desert, and the army will pay for your tits, whatever you want.
We're dating
They'll
ourselves.
drill a new pussy hole in you."
We're dating ourselves with MASH. And not just the film that most people don't know about, but the long-standing series that was popular. But even I never got it as a kid, probably because I didn't understand geopolitics or any of that sensibility. I thought it was horrible. It's tough to get through.
I hated it. I hated the song. It's called "Suicide Is Easy." I'm sure it was when I heard that fucking song. And then, my dad watched this. That's the show my dad watched in the 80s. Then I got to work with Alan Alda on Horse and Pete.
No shit. That's interesting, right there. Alan Alda did plenty during that time period that I did watch and absorb. He was everywhere in the 80s. But MASH was never there. I was able to connect with some of the older stuff, like the Archie Bunker stuff, right? All in the Family was something you could watch. Obviously, Different Strokes. I'm trying to go back even further. Mork and Mindy, all that stuff, man. But for some reason, MASH, I don't know, but it was like the longest standing series ever. I don't know how we got off on that tangent.
Because of
World War III.
Yeah, Klinger. But if you get a picture, if you see him online, you look up Klinger from MASH, you'll see a man not even doing a very good job of looking like I don't think he was saying he was trans. I think he was just like a cross dresser because they considered that a kick you out of the army offense. But they needed people for the war, so he wasn't getting out anyway.
Yeah, no, you're right. Now that's like a recruiting plus. That's identity politics 101. We want you in the Army, Navy, Marines. We're there, which is so
that beautiful woman that was working for Ukraine that got fired, unfortunately. Remember that gorgeous woman who would I can't remember what her dead name is, but she was the spokesman of Ukraine.
I did see that. You're the gorgeous one. Yes, the one that was extremely attractive.
Beautiful, yeah, that beautiful op.
We're already starting out really well, guys. That's all I can say.
Do you know anything about Peter Dow?
Peter Dow? That doesn't sound familiar. Why?
I was trying to find stuff. I'm so dying to know what his deal is. He's the guy that So Jimmy interviewed Cornell West.
Okay.
For his fake presidential.
What is that? Like, honestly,
they talked him into doing it, and I mean, it's so funny watching like at every level. It sounds like that old magic like as above so below. It sounds like that every single thing. So he's worked on. He started out supposedly he was pressed into the Christian militia in Lebanon at the age of 15, but he didn't take place in this massacre that happened. They're IDF trained this force in Lebanon. They massacred two in the 80s, and but he didn't take part in that. But he always brings up how he was forced. So like he saw bloodshed at an early age, but he didn't do them two things. I don't fucking know. Then he comes to America. There's a poet named Susan Jong or something Jong. It's pronounced Yong.
Okay.
She's famous. Her sister is married to this guy's dad, whose name is Arthur Dow, Daou.
Okay.
Lebanese.
Okay.
So he becomes a deep house DJ.
Obviously.
And a keyboard player.
Natural progression.
Okay. They got one weird, you can find their videos. They're very strange. I went a whole hole after we covered this guy going on the Cornell West campaign. He has one song where it's his sister dancing. It's like very 90s-ish house looking music. and they recite a passage from a book by is it Sarah Young, where she's saying about how she wrote a book called Fear of Flying that was like an Eat, Pray, Love, but more about fucking than that one.
Oh, just a little bit more.
Yeah, it was less eating, more fucking. I guess I didn't read it, but there's a whole passage about how her brother-in-law, this guy's dad, tried to get her to suck his dick on a plane. I think she did. And also, there's an interesting passage about how Peter Dow's mom would yell at him to shout because they're having a conversation about how Americans like bathe too much and you strip like oils. This is in her book. This guy hitting on her,
Okay.
and like the guy's mom would be like, "Don't think I don't know how when I tell you to shower before we fuck, you just go in the bathroom and sit on the toilet and smoke a cigarette." His dad sounds amazing. He's a businessman. That's all I can find about him.
Amazing, fantastic, yes.
Peter Dow, meanwhile, is a multi-talented keyboardist, deep house DJ. Then made his move to the John Kerry campaign.
Okay.
To help out with that. From what I can find, he doesn't have a good reputation for that. Pretty much everything he's ever come near, political-wise, has not won. He's never worked as part of a winning campaign ever. And I mean, it goes back, it's wild. And so anyway, when Cornell came on Jimmy's show, and at one point Cornell started spouting like just dumb, like here's a really hilarious thing he said about, Trump's a fascist. And then Jimmy brings up Biden, all the finishing the wall, all the things that you're probably mad about, Cornell West. And he goes, well, Biden has dimensions of fascism, but he's not. He says this bullshit, and I'm like, dude, it was uncomfortable. So
It should be uncomfortable because it's so stupid. First of all, let's stop fucking playing games here. Every single president post World War II has a degree of fascism because we literally merged with private business in the military industrial complex openly. You can't say that any of them didn't have aspects of fascism. Go ahead.
Okay, do you understand? You have to. God damn it! The worst part is like fascism to these people is that you didn't take your kid to a fucking drag show. Okay, it's not. It's not the fusion of industry. I got that book from Richard, that fucking Carol Quigley book that I've been reading, where I'm like,
Tragedy and Hope.
God. So, because I've been saying this was wild when he showed me that because I've been saying a bunch of this shit where I'm like, so much of this shit is clearly top down. And I have friends, my buddy from Nerdrotic, he's a fucking good guy, man. I really like that guy, Gary. He's like under attack on YouTube because that stupid Marvels movie failed. And this is what I'm saying. It was so creepy about the as above, so below weird magic shit. Because that chick that South Park made fun of, Kathleen Kennedy.
Awesome.
The first one to
did a whole thing on that. It's fantastic.
10 years passed when some embargo must have been lifted. So she fucking hired, they all do the same thing. They hire these fucking freelance smear teams like you're running for political office to go after. Who would think you go after some dumb YouTuber because they don't like some fucking movie? No, they do. They hire people just to do that. And they connected him through the alt-right pipeline of not liking fucking Star Wars to Steve Bannon, which in turn went to these guys.
And by the way, everybody, let me just stop you right there because you mentioned Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon produced a bunch of fucking Michael Moore's documentaries, so everybody knows. That's how Bannon was a business guy in like a digital media company at some point that produced and basically distributed a bunch of that shit. He didn't care. Like, come on, get with it.
He went to Epstein's house a lot. He
has, like Metzger, you realize he has 18 hours allegedly of interviews with Epstein before they picked him up in New York. He met with him during the midterms in 2018. It was highly reported on. Roger Stone's the one. You don't know about that?
Wait, 2018? I thought Epstein was dead by then.
No. Wait. No, it was 2018. Absolutely not, because what happened was he hadn't been picked up yet. It was 2017 on the 2018 deal. You're right. He died in 2018. But for the 2018 elections, it was reported that he was meeting around that time, right? And then Cernovich corroborated it, and Roger Stone's the one that put it out. Then Bannon actually put out, you can find it right here. Let's do it live, everybody. Kind of live. The Monsters
I've been
Bannon.
trying to contact Cernovich for a while. I don't know if I have a bad number or something. I like that dude. I had him on my very first podcast and my other podcast.
So here it is right here. So let's just bring it right up. It's still not out, the monsters. How do you stream it? Is it up? No. So yeah, he actually put out a trailer where he's talking to Epstein, and Epstein talks about the island of Dr. Moreau. Let's see if it comes up in video. Let's see, 2 minutes. Here it is, right here. So here's Bannon sitting down with him. And this is before he dies.
Who's the supporter? Time's
Next
up?
month marks 2 years since the death of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein inside a New York City jail.
We were underage. We were little girls. By the time I was 16, I brought him up to 75 girls.
He lived essentially like he was Gatsby. He was an absolutely terrifying person to encounter.
You own an island, right?
True. Thank you very much.
Two islands, the islands of Dr. Moreau.
Correct.
Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire New York businessman whose vast wealth brought an arrogance that knew no limits. He acted as if he could have anything he craved.
Reporting the FBI is now looking into how it can interview Britain's Prince Andrew over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
I made my living from old thinking, but the future is for the way women think.
The way women think.
That's correct.
Is that not a sop because of all the depravity you've done against young women? And your new sop is that their women's thinking is the future?
No, I've always believed that women would in fact be able to take over. I'm a firm believer and supporter of Time's Up.
Federal prosecutors said yesterday video of Epstein's jail cell when he made his first suicide attempt no longer exists.
And Jeffrey Edward Epstein.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes. Epstein got away with his crimes because nearly every element of society allowed him to get away with them.
This morning, we're learning new details of the exact cause of death of former registered sex offender and financier Jeffrey Epstein.
The greatest threat to people put in solitary confinement is they try to kill themselves. Imagine that. You're only in a room for 24 hours, you start to go crazy.
So he put that out. Apparently, there's 17, 18 hours of that interview.
Okay, I got to get a clip of him saying I support Time's Up. I have to have that.
I'll DM it to you later on Twitter. You can definitely have it. Yeah, man. But that's not even the big one. It's the island of Dr. Moreau shit. Not just one island, but two. He's literally talking about what? Transhumanism and the genetic manipulation stuff. Do you know what happened this week with Peter Nygard?
What? No. Wait, Peter Nygard, who is that? The actor?
Bro, we're going to have a fun one today. So no one in the United States, we got two Peters that they didn't talk about. Peter Nygard and Peter Daszak they didn't talk about this week.
I heard of Peter Daszak. Is he the one that has a rivalry with Bill fucking Ackman?
Sort
over,
of. But
short sell bullshit?
Well, he's the guy. No. Daszak is the dude with the gain of function, EcoHealth. He's the guy.
Oh, we had the Oh, sorry. We had the guy on, we had Pierre Corey on, Jimmy. And he was talking about the shit that came out. I couldn't believe it. I got to fucking find that one. I remember hearing it. I was like, what? And basically they're like, wait, why are you doing this? Like, because we can.
Yeah. No, I have Daszak.
Because we can.
I have Daszak in 2016 on C-SPAN. I played it on my show with Andrew G. Huff the other day, who's the EcoHealth Alliance whistleblower, right? And in 2016, he talks about the bats, the coronaviruses, extracting the spike protein, and then inserting them into human biology like it's no thing.
What is the spike protein for? What does it do?
It attaches to the human biology because they're trying
but why?
Because again, they're trying to enhance it so that they can fight it back later. Andrew G. Huff, who I just had on, confirmed not only one sequence, but 3 patented sequences that Moderna and DARPA had patented were present not in the shots, but the virus itself from different medicines, okay? I mean, it's an hour-long thing. I actually got him to admit a lot of things he'd never admitted on camera before because he has all these classifications. You can look him up. He's the real deal. He was the vice president of EcoHealth Alliance.
Wait, who? This is actual Peter Wait, who is it?
So this is Andrew G. Huff, who also worked at EcoHealth Alliance. He became the vice president, Okay, that's how high up he got. Daszak had been working there in his inception. The reason I even bring up Daszak, and I'll show you this, we'll show it to the audience, and no one reported on it, but 2 days ago, he actually had to testify behind closed doors, okay, in Congress. And I'm going to show you that documentation too, because he also had to provide a ton of documents. A ton of people are named, and people aren't realizing this is going well beyond the Wuhan lab. So,
oh no, I know it is.
well, I know you are, but most people are still stuck on that. When you see what Congress is actually looking for, here's Daszak being asked yesterday on camera.
Excuse me,
He's totally
Dr.
silent.
Daszak. Good afternoon. Good morning. Arjun Singh with the Daily Caller News Foundation. May I ask, do you agree with the U.S. government's assessment that the coronavirus leaked from a laboratory in China?
Why don't we go back into that?
Dr. Daszak, do you agree with U.S. government assessments that COVID-19 leaked from a laboratory? Do you regret sending money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology?
Oh, I remember this.
Has your
This happened 2 days ago. It's brand new.
Well, has this guy done videos where he asks somebody and they run down the hall into an office?
Yeah, he doesn't.
I know this voice.
This is I know. Because they're the only ones reporting on it in DC. No, this isn't nowhere. I mean, no AP, no Reuters. Now wait till I show you the significance of it. So he's about to go and give. Apparently, allegedly, again, the testimony is supposed to become public. It's transcription, right? But he testified for 7 hours. Here he's going into the room.
Your research prevented any pandemic since or before COVID-19? Dr. Daszak, do you regret sending funds to the Wuhan Institute of Virology?
So, here's where it's really juicy, okay? This is the letter that the Oversight Committee sent him, okay? This is in September, before telling him he had to come in. Now, if you look at this thing, it's naming names and it's asking for documentation, not just from 2019, but all the way to from 2014 for people like the Department of Energy. Now, why do I bring up the Department of Energy in particular?
Well, because they run this shit.
Well,
they run some shit.
A lot of people think, hey, when we talk about Department of Energy, we're talking about, budgets, and we're going to go to solar, and we're going to turn things green and fossil.
No, I saw Colbert wondering why the Department of Energy was talking about it definitely leaked from a lab. Remember that story came out? I see Colbert goes, bad Department of Energy. That's not your job. Yeah, that's his fucking bit. That fucking puppet.
Well, the bit is that in the 90s, when Clinton had to admit to horrible radiological and biological experimentation on human beings in the United States, unbeknownst to them, a lot of it.
St. Louis.
It was the
I was just there.
What? You were there?
In St. Louis, and I brought it up to the crowd. They didn't know about it.
Shocking. But there's a whole video on it. It's a phone book size report, and it didn't even tell everything. But the Department of Energy is where most of these things will run through.
Mm-hmm.
So they're asking for that. Not only, they're also asking for the FBI, the CIA. Here's the FBI right here. EcoHealth, everything. They actually name Chapel Hill, okay, New York Blood Center, Georgia State University, along with the Wuhan centers. Also the Academy of Military Medicine Sciences. And then they actually name names. Over 25 people. Okay? So this is on the origins of the virus. They are talking about the Preempt and the DARPA project. Here's DARPA right here also being named. They're really doing it. Like who knows what we're going to get, if we're going to get a whitewash. But no one even reported that the guy...
No, what consequences will there be for anybody? I don't see anything like... I mean, that's cool to know that, but Jimmy would always show the clips. Now, this is better than that, what I'm going to say, but the C-SPAN Rand Paul yelling at Fauci tape hearings. And we play them and I'll see it pop up in my feed, so-and-so destroys such and such. And they got that new guy. They're like stand-up comics of the moment. And they do zingers. And then you watch the roast of Fauci, and I guess that'll Fauci gets roasted for a minute, and then it's cool. Collects residuals.
None of it's cool.
I couldn't understand why China was also, because I was like, why? Before I started reading this book, it seemed weird to me. Because what I'll see now is people saying it came from, China did it to us. So now the narrative that China did it to us. I know, and I'm like. And it's not people that I think are bought and paid for by anyone. They're just like the people that jumped on the spy balloon from China, idiotic fucking thing.
It's all narrative management. Let me give you an example. Great one this week too, aside from Dazik. So Douglas Mackey did that Tucker Carlson interview. Okay. And this is the meme case. Totally got it wrong. At one point did admit that somebody else got charged and testified against him. That's the whole story. It's the microchip story. It's the story about how that group that he was in and contacted with, they're the ones that promoted Pizzagate, and part of them, the guy that testified against him, helped create QAnon. That's why they went after that fucking kid, because he was part of the network that was effective. It wasn't Russian bots. It wasn't, and he wasn't the QAnon guy. He just helped distribute a lot of that same network stuff. Go ahead.
The QAnon. So is QAnon independently made up?
So here's how it really started, bro. And you can watch. There's a couple of the documentaries that kind of hinted at it. The Viceland, I'm telling you, the Viceland one did. So I mean, I'm sure I could find it, but Jack Posobiec actually interviewed Microchip, who's the guy that testified against Douglas Mackey in the meme case.
His name is Microchip.
This is where it gets fun, Kurt. Are we ready?
Okay.
Are we ready? So first of all, I hate this publication because it's hugely overtly left-leaning and calls these guys white supremacists. But behind me, is Microchip. And why am I saying that this is Microchip? Because this man was able to testify against Douglas Mackey in court under the fucking pseudonym Microchip. And under the guise that they had charged him with something in 2018 and flipped him as an FBI informant who cooperated. We don't know what his real name is. We don't know what his job was. But he was one of the guys who I believe and took credit for and showed logs to try to prove it that originally created the first Q posts on 4chan. Okay?
Okay. I need the pictures that you showed.
Yes.
Okay, I just have some questions about the guy. Wait, put the pictures back just so. Is that blonde guy supposed to be him?
So no, that is Douglas Mackey. That's the guy who just did the interview with Tucker. That's the guy going to jail and was charged.
This guy doesn't look like that, does he?
Who? I don't know. That's the only thing we have. Now, the New York Times reported on Microchip. This unicorn root riot thing at least gave some of the transcription, right? And basically, so the little blonde guy, his big thing was that his avatar, if you look at the picture again, was Ricky Vaughn with the Make America Great hat. Right. He was a troll. But then the other one, Microchip, would do like that one. But then he had some, see, look, they have the actual testimony. You can actually read through it. And this is the sketch of Microchip sitting there. That's what they say. I don't know whether to believe it or not.
That's a courtroom sketch of Microchip.
Yes. But that is the guy. Like, let's just see if we can find it. I'm going to type in.
Oh my God. I need that picture as well. I'm going to need all this.
Microchip, QAnon, Posobiec.
I can't believe it.
Okay. So here SPLC. Let's see if we can find the video.
Okay.
Here it is. This is how QAnon more than likely did start. And there's another guy named James Brower who actually had on the program, who was small in the Trump campaign. They were all online shit posters and personas, right? And I do believe that Microchip, and that's why they went after this network, because they were successful, basically. You know what I mean? And putting their shit out. There was no Russians. In fact, just to show you there was no fucking Russians.
Well, Aramante showed me the actual things that were from Russia, and it's insane. Like, first of all, what did they spend on that? So I heard it was $100,000, but that's too much. It was the shittiest. It in no way affected. I didn't even see them whenever they did it. There's no way it affected anything, and they really are blowing that up.
Yeah.
But okay, go ahead.
Well, so BuzzFeed actually. So this is Microchip. That was his handle. Some model with an ice cream cone, and they put the "Make America Great." Never mind the Russians. Meet the bot king who helps Trump win Twitter. It's all us, not Russians, and we're not going to stop. And he explains how they did it. Okay? And this, by the way, article came out in 2017. The FBI found out who he was and flipped him a year later. Just want to point that out. So here he is, either before or around the flip, talking about how he helped create QAnon. And this is, again, the guy who sketched in that thing, testifying against Mackey, who didn't have to give his identity, telling you he started QAnon. Ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, where did he go? You fucking bastards. We're doing it live, so we're going to find it. Deleted. Okay, so this is a little bit of it right here. Okay, this is some of it. Yes. But are we not going to get audio? So these are supposedly the logs of these guys creating QAnon beforehand. And I think Defango is in there too. But man, why can I not find this? You know what? Let's go to DuckDuckGo. Let's go to DuckDuckGo. Google's the worst, man. It's really that bad. We do it live. Okay. So we go to videos. Man, maybe I should type in Bermas too, because I know I've reported on it a ton. Man,
I can't believe this.
There's Posobiec there. I guess we'll have to leave that one for another time. But I assure you that Microchip is the guy who actually helped create QAnon. I'll send you that as well. Believe it or not, Kurt. So
the guy that got charged with the Hillary meme, so his charges are not that. It's another thing they're not telling you.
So basically, they created a network, and with all those bot accounts that they had, obviously the guy was committing some kind of identity fraud on some levels, because credit cards and all these other things, and boosting posts and then interacting. So they charged him with something. We don't know what. Now, the meme is just a part of it. There was also a hotline number, and then there was the MAGA X group. So the MAGA X group was basically, I think Cernovich is actually named, Stone is named, I think others like Matt Couch, all these guys were named, and basically they would share the hot info and behind the scenes and make it go viral, memes and all these other things. And really, at the end of the day, that's what they were upset about, because they couldn't provide one person that had actually texted the Hillary Clinton thing and not voted or thought it was real. You know what I mean? That's the point. Like, that's not real. So no, they were upset that they were so effective, man. And
so they can't say the whole thing, because then that would draw attention to Russiagate being a fake.
I think that's part of it. And then it also delists the mystique and the psyop of the QAnon nonsense, right? It's never real. And at some level, the establishment actually loves it now, because anytime somebody brings up something real, oh, that's fucking QAnon, right? And then, you show some of the crazier things that people believe. Like, people were telling, shut your goddamn phone off on October blah, 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 because of the emergency broadcasting. You know how many people hit me with that? You know what I did, Kurt? Yeah. I got a stack of phones. We went live. And we let them go. I mean, but it's still continuing. You know what I mean?
I never even heard about that.
Dude.
Has the AI wave infected me through my spike proteins?
That's exactly what they were saying, bro. That's exactly.
I know, you could write it. I can write it. I always am like, who's the writer for the fucking shadow government? Because it's very clear to me that a bunch, where the plans. This makes me laugh to think about, and I don't know how. But there's a degree of truth there. I don't know how much, but did you see the Mike Myers series, the Pentaveret?
I loved it. Yeah, no, I totally loved it. I did a whole review on it. But the thing is, they went through all the little conspiracies, and then what was the end? Oh, the transhumanist AI future. I'm just going to sacrifice myself to the machine, and the AI is going to take care of everything.
I didn't see that part.
What the fuck are you talking about? He merges with the fucking AI at the end.
Who does?
The reporter guy who's the hero. He literally merges with the AI at the end to save everyone. The conspiracy theory guy comes in and he kills one of the main dudes and jumps out the hole. And then the main, the dork, the reporter guy he merges with the AI at the end. It's a transhumanist ending. Kurt. Come on, man.
So, just what I skimmed of it, and the interviews I saw with Mike Myers, and so when I started reading this book, the Carol Quigley book, I was like, why does this remind me of this stupid Mike Myers thing? And I go back and watch his interview, and he's talking about. So what I remember of it from what I watched was I was like, oh, this stinks. The reporter character is annoying. It was like, this is so corny. But then I see at the end, like, they're going to have a more diverse Pentaveret, like they're gonna have women and black people as
that's the whole thing in the beginning. That's
yeah, we're not the Freemasons, and we're not, and I'm that part where I'm like, oh, they're not Illuminati and Freemasons. Wait, that's like this book about how these guys aren't that, and they modeled it off that, and they're all these old white guys, and then the AI thing is actually blowing my mind right now. But
no, they did.
Anyway,
it's exactly how they wrapped it up, bro. Like the whole thing. Like here's the thing. Like and it's kind of because
so the white people ascend. Let me get this straight.
No, not the white people. They beat the bad guys. So like again, if you watch the very
who's
first
the bad
one,
guys?
It's basically the Pentaveret. They're not good. So there's a couple guys in the Pentaveret. So
wait, this is what I'm getting. Wait, tell me. I'm going to tell you what I thought, and then maybe you tell me if I'm right, because this is what I. Okay. So when I'm reading this book about the Cecil Rhodes fucking scumbag, whatever that wanted to get America back in the fold, and I guess Woodrow Wilson's the first puppet. The King's Man also touches on this, which is fucking weird. If you see that prequel with Ray Fiennes, but then I'm like, okay, something happened where the new generation came in and they're like, hey, it's not, we're going to dismantle this power structure. We're keeping this, but we're going to use it for good. And it's not your fucking grandpa's Cecil Rhodes round table. This is all the Rhodes scholars and shit. And but they've all been groomed to be paternalistic over the lower classes. That's the entire education. All the Ivy Leaguers are there to tell you what's good for you. And but they're the good ones now have taken over. So it's okay. It's not bad because good. It's not there's a shadow government, but don't worry. They're the good people. And they're fighting against those bad racist people. Right? So
how it works is this.
Experts.
It's
still ruled by experts.
Most of them throughout the thing. See, it kind of turns into like a who done it, like Clue. Okay, so like basically they bring in the one guy who's going to be diverse, but then he gets murdered almost immediately. And then, like you said, most of these guys who are old and white, they actually are trying to be diverse, but they get murdered one by one as well. Okay, so there's one really bad guy, and actually I'm just spoiler alert, everyone. He's modeled after Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Okay, so he's
the bad guy or good guy?
No, he's the guy in the Pentaveret who's the bad guy. Everybody else is good, but he's willing to kill everybody else for the power. There's some kind of gem thing going on. But by the end of it, to save humanity, okay, and because like at that point he's going to be part of the Pentaveret, I think it is the news guy. He merges with the AI. And that's instead of secret societies ruling us and a shadow government, the AI basically rules over us. I found a part of the clip on microchip. Okay. Let's see what we got. I just want to play this because then I want to get into the 93 World Trade Center bombing with you. But we'll get there in a second. So here is and this is horrible quality. I have no idea what it's going to sound like, but this is that report on Q, just a little piece of it.
Where did it come from? But Jack did try to debunk Q, even pretending that he knew who started it, claiming that Q was a LARP.
Oh, see, this is part of the damn. It's either the HBO documentary. See, they don't show the actual whole news clip. I'm telling you, microchip's the guy.
Isn't OAN gone now because they didn't fully support Israel enough?
Is that true?
Yeah, I got it off of. Well, I don't know. I heard it on. Matt at the internet, that kid that runs Kiwi Farms. I say kid, he's probably in his 30s, but he sounds like he's young. But I heard him like mention it. I found, it's funny, those shitposter fucking boards.
Uh-huh.
And the ones that monitor low, because some of these low cows are like plants and shit. And so one of them, who's that creep from MSNBC, and he got in the Twitter fucking censorship thing. He was working at Twitter and he didn't even want to censor as much as they wanted him to censor. I can't remember his name, but the guys we've played him on MSNBC and I knew who he was because he propped up Keffels, the hot trans streamer. And then, so what happened was because, well, this was crazy, dude. They're out looking for new poster fucking weirdos for things all the time, to blow them up like they're amazing.
Sure.
And so when when I watch like this like 4chan shit or like Kiwi Farms in particular is very interesting. Is anything at the edge of free speech stuff? Because what happened is Kiwi Farms, they did some fucking legal thing where it made it so they were denied whatever keeps you from getting DDoS attacked. Like it's crazy what they got done. It's almost like a mini Patriot Act kind of revocation of freedoms. It's outrageous, actually. And so because, you know, it's a bunch of autistics making fun of other autistics. And if you're in good society, you're like, ew, like they should be stopped. And they're like, but, you know, and I'm sure this kid has like real, he don't sound like he has, he doesn't sound like he's not a little bit racist, you know. He's, you know, he certainly has. There's the other thing I find fascinating is because after Charlottesville, I don't think the dude lives in America. After Charlottesville, a bunch of those guys were going to Ukraine because remember, Ukraine had that sister march because they really get it. They really get having a white ethno state, right?
I mean, they do.
Ukraine got it.
Dude,
so
I mean, that's why Ramaswamy was just killing. I mean, just that Nazi comment. That's the highlight of the Republican debate. So, well, there was so much. But yes, it's that open. Continue.
Yeah, so they you know, that threw me off because I remember seeing oh my God, there's Nazi everywhere. People just don't remember it. I mean, I don't know what in the fuck, but if I ask somebody, they'll go, oh yeah, I do kind of. People that were hysterical at the time that I remember them being hysterical. Oh, the tiki torch people. My girlfriend at the time, before we were dating, I remember she was like, couldn't believe it. Oh, the Nazis and Trump said good people and all that bullshit. And so then when the Ukraine, so that this is before I even was working with Jimmy. Then the Ukraine thing started, and I'm like, I don't remember all these. Like, I was like, what? That reminds me of this thing. And then I'm like, what in the shit? And then we would show it later, you know, 2018. I guess when Epstein died, God rest his soul.
Jesus. You know,
all of them converted to there's a Nazi problem. And then I realized the final nail of like saying how much Nazis are there was the ADL. That fucking prick from the ADL, whatever his name is, Greenblatt or whatever, the bald fucking Mr. Burns looking fuck, he declared that they're not Nazis anymore. And that's all the corporations and the media need to say, oh, it's fine. It's not a problem anymore. That's why it's like DEI kind of shit. Like we just need an accredited consulting something to say we're not bad and we're not bad. And it doesn't matter how it works. It's official. ADL is an official fucking stamp.
And you know what's crazy about that? And here's what's crazy about that. If you go to the Ukraine and we're talking about those Nazis who have been like A-OK'd, okay? They're the thumbs up Nazis. They actually not only use guns, but use guns to kill people. And then we cheer it on if they kill more people because we're on their side politically. Now,
where does the guns part come in?
What's that? Well, I mean, again, when you're supporting that kind, the Nazis in Ukraine, okay, and the forces like Azov Battalion, they're going to warfare like right now.
They're all okay. First of all, their president's Jewish, so you sound like an idiot.
I'm just pointing out that the ones that we're saying A-OK to were also arming, okay, and
no, they're not. It's just a few of them, and dude, they all fucking forgot about it, moved on, and put a flag on their Twitter. The one I got from Sitch and Adam, which I'll never forget, was like, "Oh, but Zelensky." I mean, a lot of people said that. You know, I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, that's how I know Will Smith's not gay because he has a wife." How could a Jewish president have Nazis? They would never figure out the technology of having a beard to front this fucking.
Especially an actor, somebody who acts for a living, who actually, you know, just like fake stuff forever. I mean, yeah, we're getting.
It's like those movies with Robin Williams. Like, what if a comedian was president? Wouldn't that be great? He'd bring his sensitivity.
Hey, on our side, again, you know, Bedtime for Bonzo was kind of a comedy, and you know, Ronald Reagan used to.
Is that Reagan?
Yeah, that's Reagan. Yeah, and Reagan used to slap women. My ex-girlfriend, for some reason, used to love that clip of Reagan just slapping a woman in a movie, and then
I can't believe they're not using it right now to run with. I want to vote for someone who uses that. Reagan slapping a woman, the greatest president of my lifetime, doing the greatest. No wonder Epstein converted to Time Up and Me Too. Dude, I need that clip so bad. Please give me that clip.
I mean, so you know where we watched it together. It was on that old HBO series Dream On. I have like the old school DVD set of the
Brian
first couple
Benben.
seasons. That might be his name. Yeah,
starring Brian Benben.
Talented
Who
guy,
the
if
fuck
that's
is
who
this
it is.
guy?
But they used to show the one clip of him just turn around and just lay it into. Here it is, right here. We'll do it right here. It's fantastic.
You get back to the hotel and stay there.
I like it here.
Go on, get moving.
I said, I like it here.
Well, I can change that in a hurry.
I didn't know we were getting the edit.
Send me that, please.
Anyway, well,
I gotta get a clip pipeline going with you for. Oh wait, I'm gonna text you this right now.
Yep.
I don't think you should show it on.
I won't
not
show it
air,
on there
right?
at all.
Okay, but you should. I do want you to watch it because we're finishing it right now.
Uh-huh.
We started making a new show.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. This is our beginning. We got to edit some.
Oh, we're gonna get some gold here.
Oh my god. Okay, I just texted it to you.
All right. I mean, there's some black and white ones. I don't think that's the only Reagan slap out there. We're gonna wait to do this.
No, I like a montage.
We
the
can
greatest
make
president in history.
Listen, getting back to the Nazis and supporting them and tiki torches because I want to do the comparison.
Wait, watch. Just look at this real quick, though.
All right, we're watching. Hold on. Let's see how ridiculous it is.
Because this is what I want you to see what I need clips for because I think you'll like it.
Top story. Israel, our closest ally in the Middle Earth, recently just got 9/11 on October 7th. But is it really as serious as January 6th? Kurt? You're watching the talk down. It's
What?
a crazy world, and the mainstream media has let you down.
Well, I'll tell you what.
There is hope. Celebrities have decided to stand up and start talking down.
Like the Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, we're gonna put better ones in there. So it's all the important news, celebrities' understanding of it to you, filtered through celebrities.
That's what we need. It's just we don't get enough of that.
No, I know that's the idea. And then I'm the guy. I'm like in the back of the engineer, and he's like, basically they all end up piling on me because I'm like the nope. See, they need someone to talk down too. It's not the talk; it's the talk down. So I live in his garage, I'm his famous friend. He's my famous friend, and I'm like Kato Kalin, and I have to do his projects with him.
Poor
and
Kato.
So like it's a news program. We're trying to figure out a thing with Bill Maher, like a good thing to do with Bill Maher, because he does a good Bill Maher.
Does he? Well, you could do a lot with Bill Maher. I mean, he's got the Club Random.
If you got an idea, let me run this by you real quick.
Okay,
it's right now where we landed before I came on the podcast is Bill Maher has that Club Random podcast.
I watch it.
So he has overtime on Real Time.
I do.
So it's like an overtime of when he takes his Cialis and he's waiting for his black hooker to get there, and he's a little tipsy. What they talk about, we're not sure what it is though. Do you know what I mean? Like on overtime, they just have like an extra, like really let their hair down. And this one is, we have as long as it takes for my boner to come up and the black hooker to get here. Guy loves black hookers. I don't know if that's common knowledge.
I've heard things.
Nothing wrong with black hookers, by the way.
I'm not here.
Hey,
yes,
nothing wrong with that. People got on a live Jimmy show. I brought it up. This is why I realized people don't know this. I just thought everybody knew this thing about him. Because people have done podcast interviews with the hookers on YouTube. I've seen them.
Really?
Yeah, they don't say like he's bad or something. He pays him whatever. He's a single guy. He likes the thing he likes. But so I just thought it was common knowledge because it's kind of innocuous to me of a thing, but it's not. And people then, it's like a left-leaning crowd that thought that I may, they're blah, what's wrong? They're black. Like, like a natural discomfort to just like saying the word black. Like what a great society we have.
I can't stand that, man. It's like you can't pay attention to your eye sockets. Like it's not like a defining characteristic of who the person is, but it is a defining characteristic how you could describe them physically.
Yeah. Well, they already have invented enhanced reality. We've had that for quite some time, but we're just now getting the visor. Right now, your eyes are lying until we get that tech where you can put it over your shit and then look at reality. So you just got to get your mind right in time for the new reality enhancer, which will make it so you don't have to live in reality. And then my favorite part is, because the metaverse looks better now, the human things, they really made a great leap. That's terrifying.
They have not been yet.
And people have already bought all the land. People have already bought all the celebrities already bought the best neighborhoods. So then you're going to put on your fucking helmet and it's going to be like, not just like marginally better than your shitty real life. Like you can escape to somewhere great, but that costs you. And you're probably gonna have to get a virtual helmet in that world to get out of your poorness in the virtual world. And it will go on like that, so on and so forth. And that's what all the ancestor simulations are about. That's what all the Elon Musk theory, the original game, you put on the helmet, but there's poor people in that. Within that game, they invented a new helmet. They put that on and we're about 50.
You basically Rick and Morty'd us throughout like the Roy episode, right? Like basically everybody's in a video game on the thing. I just interviewed David Icke again last month. We did a full hour on his book.
I got a theory about him.
What's your theory? Let's hear your David Icke theory.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't doubt that guy that said in Alaska they got that scalar weapon that they can do. And I've heard a voice to skull for some, now they can read your brain. That's a real thing.
No, I know. We've played videos on it.
Voice to skull, they even mentioned in video games, that guy who made Metal Gear, that Japanese guy, incomprehensible story. Have you ever played Metal Gear?
No, but I do. I've heard things. A lot of people have talked about it in the
he must be a guy that looks into shit. And because I always want to make stories off the wacky shit that I'm looking at that I can't believe is real. But voice to skull is what they use in that game. So they probably had that for quite some time. Voice to skull, and before that, you do it in your teeth or whatever. So David Icke, when I was watching his story of because it's very bizarre to just go from being some sportscaster and then you get a voice in your head.
Ex-soccer player, big star. I mean, he was a soccer goalie, and then because of that, a broadcaster. And have you ever seen the Wogan episode?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's where the whole thing changes.
And his conviction, he has the conviction of a man that genuinely heard a voice in his fucking head that said, look at this book, then go to this place. Okay. He has that conviction. So, and this is a random thing. By the way, this isn't huge evidence. It's just my hypothesis from random things. I'm watching a 4chan. I always like those where someone's reading all 4chan shit, and some guy's on there who claims to be an elite insider. Okay. Oh. Now, I don't believe him necessarily. However, there's I was listening for little weird details, and people brought up David Icke, and they're like, the reason I thought about that voice of skull thing is because he says the thing we wanted him. And I've seen David Icke talk about how a Freemason offered to get him a credit card with unlimited money, and he said no, thank you. Okay, did you ever see him giving that?
No, I haven't. That's something I'm unaware of.
Okay, so. Because I started to suspect that this reptilian thing is like Xenu, the way that fucking round table shit works of the Cecil Rhodes fucking Nazi round table or English Nazis are, I guess, a subdivision. But that crazy white that the Pentaveret, I guess, was covering that wanted to conquer all the world, bring America back in the fold, and they did. Mm-hmm. So what do British people weigh into, as my friend who does the channel Comics Matters says, America's mythology is only a couple hundred years old, and it's kept guns. And in England, Alan Moore and that comic book guy, the other comic book guy, they don't like each other, and they're both wizards.
Who's the other one? Who? Neil Gaiman?
Grant Morrison.
Oh, Grant Morrison and him don't like. Okay, no, I love Alan Moore's stuff. Yeah, that's really bizarre.
But he goes, my friend goes, I think in England, being a wizard is their guns. That's their fucking guns. And it is. Okay, now I don't know how well that shit works. I know that magic with a CK was because fucking Aleister Crowley couldn't fucking spell. That's why it's Bab-Alon Rising. And all these dipshits picked it up and magic, the ancient. No, this asshole couldn't spell. But if I think about my Bible background, and I really get into Bible scholarship, I didn't realize how interesting that is to me because I was just being indoctrinated in my church. And then I'd read the Bible it was so boring, the meeting I'm at, I'd have to read the Bible for entertainment to stay the fuck awake, okay? Because indoctrination is quite boring.
Yeah.
My mom wanted me to take notes. Are you taking notes? I'm like, okay, Jesus is good. Got it. Thanks. I got my notes. Fucking dingbat. Anyway, she's a good person, but come on.